There are men who are born, live, and die, forgotten by time. And then there are others, forged in hunger, betrayal, and fire. Men who rise like storms merciless, unstoppable, reshaping the world beneath their shadow. In the 12th century, from a land of cold nights and endless horizons, a child was cast into abandonment. That child would become the most feared conqueror in human history. His name would echo across continents. This is the story of Genghis Khantha, Storm of the Steppes. The steppe is silent except for the wind. Temujin is born, gripping a blood clot in his tiny fist, an omen among the Mongols. A child destined to take lives, but fate does not grant him mercy. His father is poisoned. His clan abandons his family to die. Temujin grows in hunger, wearing rags of fur, his hands bleeding as he digs roots from frozen soil. Before he conquered kingdoms, he conquered cold, starvation, and despair. When his half-brother tries to dominate the family, Temujin makes his first brutal decision. He kills him, not out of hate, but survival. The storm begins. Temujin is captured by the Taikid tribe. They bind him to a wooden yoke, drag him through their camps, mock him, but they underestimate him. One night, while guards drink fermented mare's milk, Temujin escapes. He smashes a guard with the yoke, hides in icy rivers, breathes through reeds, and runs barefoot across thorns. That night, the steppe witnessed a truth: Temujin was not prey. He was the beginning of a storm. He reunites with an old friend, Jamuka, nobleborn, charismatic, and loyal at first. They swear brotherhood. They ride, hunt, and speak of uniting all Mongols. But power corrupts brothers. Temujin's charisma draws followers of lower-rank herders, slaves, outcasts, who see in him a new kind of leader. Jamuka sees betrayal. The steppe divides. Two brothers would become two storms. Only one could rule the sky. Battle erupts between Temujin and Jamuka. Dust clouds rise like mountains. Arrows rain like dark snow. Temujin breaks tradition. He promotes warriors by merit, not birth. A revolution in Mongol culture. Victories mount, clans kneel, rival leaders fall. In 1206, the tribes gather at the sacred river Anna. Drums echo, shamans burn incense. Warriors lift their banners, wolves, eagles, horses. Temujin is proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler. The world does not yet know it, but its borders are about to burn. Genghis sends peaceful envoys to trade with the Khwarezm Empire. The Sharagan, blinded by pride, executed them, a mistake that would shake the earth. For Genghis Khan, an attack on his messenger was an attack on the heavens. The Mongol army rides west like a black tide. Horse archers move faster than any army in history. Decoys, feints, thunderous charges, entire cities fall in days, not months. Samarkand burns. Bukhara surrenders. The Shah flees, hunted like an animal. Genghis Khan stands in the mosque of Bukhara. I am the punishment of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you. Storm speaks. The Mongol Empire becomes a machine. Relays of horses carrying messages faster than any kingdom. Intelligence networks mapping cities before assaulting them. Siege engineers recruited from China, Persia, and beyond. Absolute discipline. Absolute loyalty. No army adapted like the Mongols. No general read the battlefield like Genghis. No empire expanded so fast again. From Korea to the Caspian Sea, the steppe storm devoured everything. But storms fade. In 1227, after crushing a rebellion, Genghis Khan, old but unbroken, feels the end approaching. He gathers his generals. Do not let my body be found. Let my empire be my tomb. They bury him in a secret place, erased from maps, guarded by myth. His horsemen ride over the grave so no trace remains. The storm returns to the sky. He was born a starving outcast and died as master of the largest land empire the world has ever seen. Love or fear, hero or monster, Genghis Khan reshaped continents, nations, and history itself. Empires crumble, legends endure, but storms never die. Before he was Genghis Khan, the Great Khan, ruler of the largest contiguous empire in history, he was just a boy named Temujin, born into the harsh, unforgiving world of the Mongolian steppes. Imagine this, a vast, wind-swept land, where nomadic tribes constantly warred over scarce resources. This was the world that forged history. His story isn't just about conquest. It's a tale of survival, betrayal, and the unification of a scattered people. Temujin's early life was brutal. His father, a minor chieftain, was poisoned by a rival tribe when Temujin was only 9. His own clan, seeing no use for a woman and her young children, abandoned them to die. Left to fend for themselves, Temujin, his mother, and his siblings survived by foraging, hunting whatever they could. It was a life lived on the edge, a constant struggle against starvation and rival clans. He was even captured and enslaved, forced to wear a wooden collar. But even then, in the face of utter humiliation, the fire within him never died. He escaped, a feat that began to build his reputation for cunning and resilience. These early hardships taught Temujin invaluable lessons. He learned that the old tribal system, with its endless cycle of vengeance and betrayal, was a dead end. It kept the Mongol people weak and divided. He understood that loyalty was the most precious currency, and he rewarded it fiercely. He began to gather followers, not just from his own clan, but from all walks of life. Men were drawn to him not because of his noble birth, but because of his charisma, his military genius, and his radical idea, a meritocracy. In his growing army, a man's worth was determined by his skill and loyalty, not his lineage. This was revolutionary on the steppes. One by one, he began to defeat his rivals. His tactics were unlike anything the world had seen. He was a master of psychological warfare, using spies to spread disinformation and fear. His military strategies were brilliant. The Mongol army, under his command, was a force of nature. They were masters of the feigned retreat, luring enemies into a trap before turning and unleashing a devastating volley of arrows from horseback. Their discipline was ironclad, their communication with flags and horns was seamless, and their speed was terrifying. They could cover vast distances faster than any army of the time, living off the land and their herds. In 1206, a great council, a Kurultai, was held. All the unified tribes of the Mongolian plateau gathered, and they proclaimed Temujin as their supreme leader, bestowing upon him the title Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. The boy who was abandoned to die was now the master of the steppes. But his ambition didn't stop there. He looked beyond the grasslands. He believed he had a divine mandate from Tengri, the eternal blue sky, to unite the world under his rule. The first major campaign outside of Mongolia was against the Western Xia Kingdom, a formidable state that controlled the vital Silk Road trade routes. After a series of battles, they were forced into submission. Next came the mighty Jin dynasty in northern China. This was a different kind of war. The Mongols were horsemen of the open plains. Now they faced massive, fortified cities. But Genghis Khan was adaptable. He learned from captured engineers how to conduct siege warfare, building catapults and other siege engines to breach the walls of cities that had stood for centuries. Perhaps his most famous, or infamous, campaign was against the Khwarezmian Empire in Central Asia. It started not as a war, but as a trade mission. Genghis Khan sent a caravan of merchants and diplomats, but the governor of the Khwarezmian city, in a foolish act of arrogance, had them executed. When a second envoy sent by Genghis Khan to demand justice was also killed, his fury was unleashed. This wasn't just an insult, it was a declaration of war. The Mongol invasion of Khwarezmia was a storm of unprecedented scale and brutality. Cities that resisted were utterly destroyed, their populations massacred. Legendary centers of learning and culture like Samarkand and Bukhara were reduced to rubble. It was a terrifying display of Mongol power. A warning to the world, do not defy the Khan. Yet, even in this destruction, there was a strategic purpose. He was securing the Silk Road, creating a zone of free trade and communication that would later be known as the Pax Mongolica, the Mongol Peace. Under Genghis Khan, the Mongol Empire became a continent-spanning network. He established a written language for the Mongols, created a legal code known as the Yap, and established a postal system, the Yan, which allowed for rapid communication across his vast domain. He promoted trade, tolerated different religions, and created an empire that, for all its violent birth, brought a strange kind of stability and connection to the world. Ideas, technologies, and goods flowed from east to west and west to east like never before. Genghis Khan died in 1227 during a campaign, but the cause of his death remains a mystery. He was buried in a secret, unmarked grave in Mongolia, its location lost to time, just as he wished. But his legacy was anything but secret. His sons and grandsons, like Gedai Mingay and the famous Kublai Khan, continued his conquests, pushing the empire's borders to their farthest limits, from the shores of the Pacific to the heart of Europe. So, how do we view Genghis Khan today? As a ruthless barbarian who brought death and destruction, or as a visionary leader who united a people, created an empire, and inadvertently connected the world? The truth, as it often is, lies somewhere in the middle. He was a product of his brutal time, and he used brutal methods to achieve his goals. But his impact on history is undeniable. He didn't just conquer the world, he remade it. The storm from the steppes changed the course of civilization forever. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past fascinating, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into history. See you next time.